What's up, guys? So we're going to be going over Vilitionraxx today and Clark, and apparently Clark went to Valition's gym. Valition's gym, apparently people know who he is there. There was a lady named Jenny that Clark went up to go talk to. Jenny called him stinky as soon as he walks in the door. I understand, you're supposed to be smelling bad whenever you're working at a gym, you know, natural body odors and but she says he's stinky as soon as he walks in, and that this has been a repeated thing. It's been a repeated interaction where he walks in and he starts stinking up the place.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Clark. I was just wondering if I might take a few moments to speak with you about a specific person who uses your gym.
Of course, sir. My name is Jenny. Pleased to meet you. So you're asking about a customer, right?
Yes, I have some troubling news involving an individual by the name of Hamza Taiz. Don't bother looking him up in your computer, ma'am. He's registered with you guys using a completely different name. He likes to do this whole make-believe stuff, but I'm not going to get into that. Let me start off with what he looks like, so you got an idea of maybe who I'm talking about. He used to have a strange hairdo that was like a point sticking out. Then he shaved his head, and now he has a really stupid-looking mohawk. He usually wears this Batman onesie pajama thing, which is mainly purple. He also has a strange, almost fake-sounding British accent. Then there's his nose. I mean, it kind of looks like a bird. Does that sound familiar, ma'am?
Oh, you mean stinky. Oop. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that too loudly.
Oh, you're fine, miss. Did you say you guys call this guy stinky?
If it's the guy that I think you're describing, then yeah.
Clark explaining that Valition looks sort of like a bird will never not be funny to me. That's some wild stuff. And I love how Jenny is just sort of like agreeing along, just like, yeah, no, I know the guy. He stinks. Like, he's stinky. We call him Stinky around these parts. Old Clark's talked about how Valition uses a different name, and that is because he does go by a different name. And that name is William. That's usually his go-to name whenever it's interacting with people, even in real life, not the internet. People refer to him as William all the time. I believe that his mom calls him William. The people around his facility call him William. This guy who drives him everywhere calls him William. It's very strange. I'm not sure. I guess it's just a really attached nickname. But you can hear Clark insulting and talking smack about old Vilitionraxx, and you know, I'm not sure if he actually smells or not. I mean, the people that we talk about here typically don't shower a whole lot. You know, I'm hoping that Valition does shower. I'm not sure. You know, that's just my best guess. Wild that this Clark character went all the way over to Valition's gym just to get an interview with this this employee at this gym, just to learn a little bit more about him. And it's gonna get more interesting as we go along, folks.
He smells like usually when people are working out. They obviously have a smell. But sorry, yeah, that guy. Yeah, he stinks before he even walks into the facility.
Fascinating. Well, I would like to give you some more information on this guy. I'm going to pull up a few of his YouTube videos just to give you some background.
Sure, okay.
Well, this first video was a bit disturbing. I'm gonna skip the weird belly stuff. Oh, God. There we go. All right. Now, what do you think about this?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I know him. That's him. Is he in a playground?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Oh, I'm not sure I'm comfortable looking at these. Did he draw these?
Yes, he has a deviant art account on the internet. Anyway, you know, let's go to another video. All right, this one explains what Hamza has done in the past.
Yeah, no problem, sir.
It's also very disturbing, but I really think you and the rest of the staff here need to know what's up.
Now, you know it's got to be strange for this employee to be seeing this art and hearing about this this Hamzas guy, aka Vilitionraxx. It's gotta be an interesting phenomenon. I can't imagine what's going through her head right now, but she seems piqued. She seems interested. You know, I feel like most people would say, no, please, sir, leave the gym. Please don't come back. I don't want to see this crap. You know, I don't know. Maybe she's like watching Valition too. Maybe so. I have no clue. But, you know, now she's aware about his YouTube presence, so, you know, only time will tell whether the local area will learn about him or not. You know, that's happened with Cyrax among other lolcows, is that the locals in the area find out who they are and the things that they've done, and it's usually doesn't end well for them. But he goes on to show and talk about how Valition threw a brick. You know, we talked about the tossing a brick situation before. If you don't know what I'm referencing, essentially, a brick was thrown and someone was hurt, essentially, a child. And it's quite the terrible thing that Vilitionraxx has done, pretty much.
He threw a brick at a baby? A baby?
Yes, unfortunately, that's correct.
Why isn't he in prison?
Well, I have an equally intense question for you. Why is he allowed to be in a facility with children around?
Okay, send me his YouTube stuff and I'll show my manager. This is kind of disturbing.
Greatly appreciate that, ma'am.
Man, you can hear the shock in her voice whenever she learns about his DeviantArt and the fact that he threw a brick. It's no good, and it's got to be shocking to hear it, especially whenever you're in the middle of work. You know, you're just not expecting something really weird and crazy. And Clark was kind of being an oddball too, asking her why is he allowed to be in a facility around children. And, you know, I hope she's not allowing that. I don't think she's really responsible for him being around children or Valition being in a facility at all. I don't know what that has to do with him in the slightest, but, you know, he told her about it. She showed her manager, supposedly, and that was that. You know, we're going to have to keep an eye on where this goes, but Valition seems to be unaware of the situation at this moment. He probably knows. He just hasn't spoken on it yet. But he is upset at Ubisoft. Out of all things, Ubisoft. He's not super happy about it, which is... But he talks badly about Cyberpunk. I don't know what his hatred towards Cyberpunk and CD Projekt Red, the creators of that game. He has a problem with them.
I wanted to take a break from the internet in a while, but I can't. And the reason why I can't take a break from the internet is because I have a problem. I have a serious problem. So, what happened is that Ubisoft might have a virus. So, I was trying to launch the Ubisoft so I could be able to play a Ghost Recon Breakpoint while I'm offline. Means off the internet. But the Ubisoft is not launching. It's not launching because it's always loading, and well, I would say it's endlessly loading. Wasn't be able to even have access to Ubisoft. The Ubisoft is not launching.
Now, for anybody having trouble understanding what he's saying, essentially he's saying that he is not able to launch the Ubisoft app on his computer, I guess. And this is completely troublesome. This is why he can't get off the internet and why he can't get off of YouTube, which makes perfect sense, by the way. He's totally forced to be on the internet because Ubisoft made him do it. Of course, that makes total sense, Valition. Okay, in reality, Valition, you don't need Ubisoft to even play games, you know? You can get Steam instead. There are other applications. Heck, there's even the Epic Store if you want to go that far. But, you know, you don't need Ubisoft to play games. There are other places where you can play games on your computer. You don't need to be on the internet to get this back to working. In fact, why don't you just look up a guide or some kind of troubleshooting thing? Maybe get customer support, something, dude. Complaining on YouTube about it is not going to fix it. But you might be wondering, where is he going to take this? Is he going to be asking for help? Is he going to be requesting someone to DM him to fix his Ubisoft account? No, he's going to talk about how this is all CD Projekt Red's fault and the Chinese triads.
And plus, CDPR, they're the one who made more mistake than Ubisoft. They made more mistake than Ubisoft. And we all know that. And CD Projekt Red are so jealous to Ubisoft just because Ghost Recon Breakpoint is 10 times better than Cyberpunk 2077. I was just doing this. Yeah, like 10 times better than Cyberpunk 2077. And Assassin's Creed Odyssey is also 10 times way better than all of the Witcher series. CD Projekt Red are jealous Ubisoft because Ubisoft are still more successful than the CD Projekt Red. Well, even though CD Projekt Red, they claim that they fixed Cyberpunk 2077 back in 2023 and probably 2024, but it was all lies. I did watch a YouTuber who played Cyberpunk 2077 in 2024, and he saw a lot of glitches and bugs. Yes, glitches and bugs in Cyberpunk 2077 that is made in China. Made from China.
So I went ahead and did my research, and a quick Google search shows that they're not even stationed in China, dude. They're stationed in Poland. What are you talking about? But you would probably have problems with that also, and I'm not going to get into why you have issues with Poland, but you're so wrong that it's stupid, man. You didn't even Google this.
But we all heard that CD Projekt Red is made by Polish, but the Chinese mafia bought the entire CD Projekt Red company, which is exactly how I could tell that CDPR is a Chinese company. It's made by Polish, but it's owned by a Chinese mafia, the one who is scamming everybody. They scam the fans. They scam all of people who bought Cyberpunk 2077. They lied about fixing Cyberpunk 2077, but they have not. They're not even tried to fix Cyberjunk 2077. It's still broken. It's still buggy. They bought Cyberpunk 2077 and they got scammed. They got duped. And guess what? The Chinese mafia and CDPR don't want the refund. So that means nobody will be able to sell Cyberpunk game just to get a refund.
This whole thing is so dumb. He's just making stuff up at this point. I don't even know what he's talking about. How is a Chinese mafia gonna buy an entire video game company? And why would they do that? Why would the mafia buy that? Is that their front whenever they're doing back deal dealings, if you know what I mean? I mean, Valition, listen to yourself. You're talking about how the Chinese bought a Polish-based company and is now trying to scam people with it. Now, for those of you who don't own or play Cyberpunk 2077, Cyberpunk 2077 is a game that came out many years ago. It's been out for a while, and it's been known for its bugs and glitches and stuff, and I'm going to go ahead and say it like this. Yes, they did fix the game. They mostly fixed the game. I have probably about 10 hours into the game, not super long, but definitely a decent number, and I came across like one glitch where I bought a car, and it just sort of got deleted from the game. I couldn't find it anywhere. That was the only glitch that I saw and encountered in all my hours of playing Cyberpunk. And yes, there are glitches that exist in the game, but there are games with glitches all the time. Glitches are always going to be a thing that happens, regardless of whether it's intended or not, which is not. That's why it's called a glitch. And Valition, you sitting here saying that the Chinese mafia bought this is ridiculous, and that they're not fixing the game even though they're updating it like monthly. I believe they updated it earlier, about 7 days ago. So this entire thing is ridiculous.
They just got duped. They got scammed. Even a DLC, they bought that dog Liberty DLC, but guess what? They're not gonna be able to refund it because again they got scammed by a Chinese company CDPR. They got scammed by Chinese CDPR. Ubisoft doesn't do that. Ubisoft never scams everybody like CD Projekt Red does. Ubisoft doesn't scam anybody, and they allow anybody to refund the games whatever they want. But Ubisoft still became more successful than the CD Projekt Red.
Volition clearly has no idea of what he's talking about. Also, I was wrong earlier. Ubisoft didn't make the Mass Effect games. I thought they did, but it wasn't them. It was somebody else. But he's talking about how you can refund this game anytime, and that's just a blatant lie, especially if you buy that game on Steam. The standard, from my understanding about Steam, is that if you play a game for over 2 hours, you can't refund it afterwards. You know, because that would mean that you're getting a lot of content out of it that the game company isn't going to benefit off of because you're going to refund it. This makes no sense, Vilitionraxx. I mean, dude, this is not how refunds work in the slightest. But we're going to be moving on to whenever he talks about Republicans, and he's afraid that the Republicans are going to have him arrested and moved out of the country because he made bad tweets or social media accounts against them. Like he was talking smack about Donald Trump and others. I'm not sure, but he is obsessed with politics, so it's not really surprising.
That new news from Kyle Kalinske. So, title, criticize Trump, get deported. The Kyle Kalinske Show.
All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about this here. Trump wants to force immigrants to share their social media handles when applying for citizenship. So if you're wondering, yes, this is exactly what it looks like. He is so anti-free speech that he's saying, if you criticized me or criticized MAGA on social media, I want to ban you from coming into this country. Think about that. Soon, if a new proposal from the Trump administration goes into effect, immigrants applying for green cards or citizenship will have to disclose their social media handles with their application, The Intercept reported Sunday. Considering the recent detention of Mahmoud Khalil, an immigrant and Columbia University student who helped lead pro-Palestinian protests on campus in 2024, this proposed new policy could negatively affect immigrants to the U.S. who have espoused pro-Palestinian or anti-Israel views.
Now, I don't really care for politics and the like. I think it's kind of boring. It's not fun and whimsical like The Goblin or Daniel Larson or something. Well, I don't think whimsical is the right word for them, but you get what I mean. I don't really care for politics, just my opinion. But Vilitionraxx here is terrified that he's going to be removed from the country because of the things that he said geared towards the government, Donald Trump, and overall politics, which, you know, is this going to happen? I doubt it. I really doubt it because I'm pretty sure he's a citizen of the United States anyway. He's just not from here. That's it. And you know, I don't know why he's afraid that he's going to be removed whenever he's a citizen. He continues to play this part, claiming that he's an illegal immigrant for some reason. He has nothing to gain out of it, and I'm not sure why. But he listens to this video, and he goes on to talk about how he might be in danger of being deported. And obviously, that's not really going to happen. I mean, if it does, I'm going to be shocked. But until it does, I'm just going to sit here and say, no, Volition, you're not in danger. This is dumb.
I have no opinion about Israel. I have no opinion about Palestine. But I'm not a pro-Palestine. But I did criticize Trump and MAGA, and I'm not a citizen. So if I'm applying for citizenship, I'll be forced to share my social media. If they found out that I criticize MAGA or Trump or Elon, they'll kick me out of the country. I did criticize Elon Musk too. So right now, I want to say I'm sorry to Trump. I'm sorry to MAGA. I'm sorry to Elon Musk. I'm sorry for criticizing them.
Valition claims that these people are going to remove him from the country, but I'm 90% sure that he said in the past that he wants to leave America, but the only way he can leave is by applying for citizenship, which, you know, if the way to leave is to do that, then go do it. You know, it's unlikely that it's gonna be charged upon you. I don't know if there's like a bill attached to it, but there is a way to get out of the country, Volition. And I don't know what you want. You know, one video you'll say that you're trying to get out and you're trying to get citizenship, and then today you're saying, oh man, I might be removed from the country and that's no good. I don't want to leave. It's just, I don't know. It's contradictory to everything that he's saying and the things that he claims. I don't know what this guy wants. You know, if you want to leave the country, fine, whatever. You know, that's your choice. If you want to stay, fine, whatever. That's your choice. It doesn't really matter. I don't really care. But Volition is acting like this is going to be some kind of detrimental thing to him. But it's just, Volition, you said that you wanted to leave.
I feel stressed again, anxious again, and decide to make the apology video to MAGA. Please, 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 give me a chance. Let me be a citizen. Don't deport me. I am done criticizing the right wing. I'm done. I give up. And I take back about what I said about Trump and MAGA and Elon Musk. Right now, I'm gonna end this video right now. This is just a background picture. I'm not really... Well, this is not really gaming. This is not really gaming video. That is just a background picture for the views. Well, yeah, this is not a gaming video.
You know, I also want to point out that shows where his mindset is at. You know, he thinks he's going to be deported because of his social media accounts, when it's like, Volition, you've actually committed crimes. You know, the bricking situation was horrible. You did something terrible to an infant, dude. I mean, isn't that something you'd be worried about being deported for? Not this social media silliness? I mean, dude, you're not really providing for anybody. So why would anybody really, you know, want you to become a citizen if you weren't already, which you are? You're just making this claim to sound edgy. I genuinely think that he is a citizen of the United States, and he's just saying this to gain some kind of righteousness, like, oh, I'm fighting the system, I'm against the system, and I'm gonna become an illegal citizen or something like that. But at the same time, he's gonna kneel down and say, I need help, please help me. Police officer, the Discord people on the internet are talking bad smack about me. And that stuff has happened. He's called the cops because people were insulting him on Discord. And, you know, you reviewed that in a previous video talking about him. He's one wild cat, Volition is. And then he has that game screenshot in the background, so then he can make people think that he's gaming when he's not. You know, it's probably his thumbnail too, you know. I don't know why he put that in the background. I mean, he said it straight up that it's just for the views. Not very great reason to have it there, but I'm gonna go ahead and do my shout outs. Now I'd like to shout out Toasted, Sweaty Prolapse, Smithers, Gunslinger Brett, Nightmare Doxies, Lilith Victoria, Mike Oxsmells, Bobby Queso, Todd Bowden, Corey Rosales, The Girl Next Door, Shining Wiz TV, Scooter 74-6, MO Transformers, Tubby Thunder, Zorl Champion of First Claw, Sushi Cat Yum, Pepperbox, Funky Fresh Salvador, Gamer Man, Pie Kisser 222, Miss Pissy, Drew York, Michael Furburger, Seema, Spartan, Mars, Silvergen, Young Duck, Red, Kirikane, Really Rotten AOW, The Juggalo Goku Gaming and Podcast, Dutch Chad, Visigoth Bakara, Husky Leaf Gaming, Periodically Correct, Matthew Bard, Great White Hype, Love It or Hate It, Trixie Bella, Brooks Looks, Mid-10 Pews, Moth Loves Tracting, Claus Anal Schwab, Honey Bee, OGG, Succedanus, Chiefy Keef, Costas, Jack Burton, Sofa Ninja, Loopy, Kinotech USA, N76, Raspy Wolf, Mr. Masquerade Killer, Gentees, Adam M, Little Willie 1968, Afro Rob CCG, Zev Flepson, Bart, David Stinky Finger, Phil Mack, Junsey, Ico Echo, Cashette, Megan is a Ghoul Lover, Princess Keys, Bucky, Revocation TV, Bunnies Make Me Happy, Electric Lou, Emily Drake, Gilliam, RBL, Sag McDonald's, Raymond Sanchez, Mark Lass, Locale University, Ricari, Never Around, Only Fighting Me, Troticus Maximus, Bottleberry's Greatest Orderly, Ultra Mega Jesus, Jet Maximum 90, Peanut Mama, Abden, Sammy D, Oversoul, Python Caretaker Sarah, Dreadhead David, Ice Wallow, Magic Princess, The Black Pearl, Joshua Roberts, Depressed Rabbit, Noda Lizardman Honest, Edward Walden Haynes, Slasher Minifilms, Haley Cantaloupe Cakes, Nick Cliff, Atomic Renegade, Steve from Wormhaven, Evan Reed, Curse Decals, Lord of Worlds, TJ Bender, James, Honda Civic, Tanis Finest, Roboto Sand, Digital Dream, Bakano Sensei, Poofy Mooncakes, Mad 33s, and Dark Chocolate. Thank you guys for y'all's support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, homies, and have a good day.